shake. It was just a few more miles and they'd be there, ready to start their new lives in her old home. Evelyn winced as she bumped up the curb and pulled onto the gravel driveway, the crunching stones sounding loud in the quiet car. She finally turned the engine off and stretched the cricks out of her neck before squinting to peer through the darkness into the back seat. Tilly whined softly and gave Evelyn a reproachful look from her spot half in Summer's lap. Clearly she was telling her that it was far too late for her girl to be out, and she was less than impressed with all the changes and moving about. "I know, I'm sorry, Tilly," she whispered an apology, "but we didn't really have any choice, and we're here now. Wait with our girl, and I'll get the door open. We don't want her getting cold." She paused at the porch and ran her hand over the honeyed stone. It hadn't been home to her for years, but it still felt safe and familiar. She'd been so happy in this old cottage. She stared at the blurred head in the back of the car and prayed that Summer could be happy here too. Happy and healthy. She brushed her fingers against the cold, worn metal of the door knocker when the faded green door swung open, and she was wrapped in a huge hug that smelled of roses, cinnamon, and safety. "Hi, Mum." "Oh, Evie, I hate what it is that's brought you back home to me, but I'm so glad you're here. I know it's a few weeks late, but Happy New Year, love." Evelyn was pushed away, and her mum squinted at her in the light streaming from the hallway. "You look exhausted. Let's get you in, settled, and I'll put the kettle on. Now, where is my gorgeous, brave granddaughter?" Still zonked out in the car, with Tilly in her lap as usual. "You go get her. I've borrowed a junior bed from a friend and cleared out my crafting room for her." "I said she could share with me," Evelyn argued. "I know what you said, love, but I really don't mind. I'll give you a hand and hopefully we can get her snuggled into bed before she even realises we've woken her up." "Sounds good." Evelyn yawned, suddenly overwhelmed by tiredness, as all the sadness and struggles of the last few months hit her in a tsunami of emotion. She opened the car door and unclipped Tilly, who bounced out of the car and bounded around, yipping excitedly as she greeted her old friend. Yes, I'm glad to see you too. Now, go water one of my trees before you come in." Evelyn's mum shooed Tilly towards the garden, as Evelyn unclipped Summer's seatbelt and pulled the little girl tightly against her. "Are we there yet?" Summer's sleepy voice was muffled against Evelyn's shoulder. "Yes, sweetheart, we're here now." She handed a bag to her mother and held Summer's head firmly against her shoulder as she struggled to lift her from the booster seat. She was getting a bit big to lift around easily, but Evelyn was still going to keep doing it for as long as she could, even if she did get a few twinges in her back every now and then. "Good." Summer snuggled against her neck as Evelyn struggled to stand, her daughter's fuzzy, regrowing hair tickling her cheek. "I'm tired, Mum." "I know. Come give Nanny a quick hug and we'll snuggle you into your bed." "With Tilly?" Evelyn chuckled as she carried Summer through the porch and into the hallway that she'd walked through thousands of times, sometimes sneaking in later than she'd promised, sometimes storming in as an angry teenager. But usually she'd been happy, racing to meet her family or friends. She heard Tilly's skidding claws hit the stone floor. "Of course Tilly's coming to bed with you. I've never been able to stop her yet, have I?" "Good." Summer snuggled tighter. "Hello, darling." Evelyn heard her mother's footsteps and voice behind her. "Hello, Nanny Linda." Summer stretched her hand out behind Evelyn to her grandmother, who kissed her fingers, making the little girl giggle. Evelyn opened the door to her mother's former craft room and gasped. "This is beautiful." She set Summer down on the bed. "Look, sweetheart, your very own princess bedroom." She fingered the shimmering canopy that pulled over the small bed, all in delicate shades of pink that matched the pale walls and striped rug. "It's so pretty,